Hi.
Herbert, Herbert,
Sorry, I'm kind of a boomer still.
you're fine. Would you turn your camera this way?
Sure. Like this?
Yes.
Cool.
Is that your artwork behind you?
Yes, this is a this is an original piece right there.
I love that.
And this is from a Weekend with Pablo Picasso.
Oh, did you paint that live in the show?
No, I painted it beforehand. I was just trying to practice like him, and I liked this one, so I kept it.
That's beautiful. You're coming to us from Point Loma, correct?
Yes, Point Loma. It's very beautiful out right now.
I was I watched some of your recipes with Belen, and they look very delicious.
Yeah, we've been getting great response. I'm putting recipes once a week on the San Diego Rep website, and but when I have Belen on camera, the views just go, over the top. When it's just me, that normal. But when I get Belen in there, boy, she's a superstar.
And how is Samantha?
Samantha's fine. She's hanging in there too. We're just here at the house in Point Loma, and we go shopping once a week, and just try to stay home and be creative. And we do videos. I do 1-minute videos for the Rep every day, and do poetry or whatever comes to mind.
Why don't you tell everyone your journey? I was telling them a little bit about how I was introduced to you, but why don't you tell everyone your journey as a theater maker, because you wear so many hats?
Yeah, let me get a little more comfortable here. How's the viewing there?
Perfect.
Well, wow. I'm currently the playwright in residence at the San Diego Repertory Theater, as you know. I've been there now about 4 years, and it's been great because they produce my work, and that's I've had a long relationship with Sam Woodhouse and the San Diego Rep. They were Sam Woodhouse was the first person to produce Culture Clash in
Oh,
the
wow, I didn't know
in the
that.
early '90s in the regional theater. Yeah, so he was really the first guy to believe in us and produce us in the regional theater. And once you're in the regional theater pipeline, then everybody hears about you, and they start producing. And that's how we started getting produced everywhere else. But that was really our first regional theater gig, that the one he gave us in the early '90s, late '80s, early '90s. And but we were formed in 1984.
Hmm.
Reagan was still in office. We thought it was bad then. Yeah, we started in 1984 in San Francisco's Mission District. We were all out of, we were out of, we straight out of college. We were out of college. We didn't have any work as actors, and we thought, well, let's form a theater company or a comedy company. This time, a comedy group. And we started doing sketch comedy, stand-up comedy, and things like that. And we just performed everywhere, wherever people wanted us to perform, we'd perform. But what was unique about us from the very beginning is that we were really honest, and we just talked about how particular our life was as bilingual, bicultural, Latinx people in America. And I think people were like, wow, you're talking about all the stuff that, that I've been thinking about, but I haven't been able to express. So I think we got popular really fast and really right away because we were basically being really honest, and El Teatro Campesino, Luis Valdez picked us up, started touring under his arm for a little bit. And, he was always a hero of ours. And,
Oh, yeah.
and then we kind of outgrew San Francisco. We went to LA. We found in LA, we found a really big Latinx audience that would support us at the Los Angeles Theater Center. So we did a couple of plays there that were really big hits that got us noticed. So one was called The Mission, and the other one was A Bowl of Beans. And A Bowl of Beans really got a lot of people's attention. It was even filmed for grand performances on PBS. You know, that got us attention. And then we had a little, we had a sketch show on Fox TV for a little bit in the early 90s. And sorry about that. I don't know, it's my, hold on.
What happened?
I think I won the lotto.
Hey, remember
Jackpot. I got the jackpot.
me?
Yeah. The Wheel of Fortune. Yeah, I'm in Vegas right now.
So you're performing sketch on Fox.
Yeah, we're performing sketches on Fox. We had a TV show for a while, you know, and then we went back to work, back to theater. And the Mark Taper Forum in LA has always been our kind of artistic home in LA, fortunately, you know. And Gordon Davidson at first, and now Michael Ritchie. And then, like I said, then 5 years ago, I got this a Mellon grant to do plays for the Rep as a playwright in residence. So we, you know, but my trajectory is 35 years, man. 35 years. Culture Clash has been together 36 years in May. 36 years.
Wow.
We were performing at Berkeley Rep.
Right.
Only a month ago. It was a big hit. It was Culture Clash still in America. We were in the middle of a 52 performance run. We were like in show 20 or something, and that's when you know, California shut us down, and we're back here. I'm back here in San Diego, and the other guys live in LA. Yeah.
That was an amazing show. I got to see. I saw closing night, didn't I, at South Coast?
At South Coast Rep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know how it is. Second time around is always better. So the show just got a lot tighter and more urgent as we went up to Berkeley, because you know, Berkeley, of course, you have to be a little more, you know, urgent. That's our sweet spot. That was our sweet audience. So we were just, you know, preaching to the choir, but it was fun. Every night was just a rock and roll concert.
Wow. I wish all theater was like a rock and roll concert.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of our style, you know. That's why we're very unconventional, you know, that way. I mean, a lot of our plays don't have storylines per se. There's not the traditional 3-act structure. They're very modular, you know. We substitute stuff depending on if it's working or not. Nothing's precious, you know. And we rock it out. We love to entertain, you know. We entertain and we make people think a little bit. So that's been our style.
So 36 years working with the same collaborators, there's got to be a sense of frustrations at sometimes, and then a great sense of shorthand. And what is that like?
No, you're right. We're brothers, you know. We've become brothers, and when you have a brotherhood relationship, you hate and you love, you know. And no, there was, for many years, for a couple of years there, we didn't work. We just didn't want to see each other. We were doing our own thing, and we just,
right,
you know, leave me alone, you know. But ironically, it was about 8, and we weren't working much. But about 18 months ago, our dear friend Diane Rodriguez, who just passed last week or this week, she called us saying, "Hey, I talked to Danny Feldman at the Pasadena Playhouse. And he, you know, let's revive Border Town Now, a play that we started here in San Diego, you know, 25 years ago." And so we revived it and updated the Border Town play by Culture Clash at the Pasadena Playhouse 18 months ago with Diane Rodriguez. So I'm really, you know, I'm just feel so blessed that we were able to work with her before she passed, you know. And then we had the big run at South Coast Rep, and now in Berkeley. So there's kind of been we've been kind of revived again, you know. But after a couple of years of taking a break from each other, it felt right. It felt right to, you know, to come back and do it again. You know, if the work is still rocking people, we love it. You know, we're not going to say no. So it's been great. It's a great relationship. I mean, we're brothers, but it's you know, hate and love.
How do you write with each other? I mean, do you play to each other's strengths, or do you?
Yeah, we really don't anymore. When we first started, we really did write together. Like, what do you want to say? Well, what do you want to say? You know, so like really that basic, you know. or somebody would go off and write something and come back and show it to the group, right? But that became a pain in the butt after a while because everybody started getting, starting developing their own voice, their own aesthetic, and that's fine. You got to let that happen. So Richard Montoya is really, we gave him he wanted to be the head writer, and we just said, yeah, go ahead, instead of like, butting heads, that's another thing. Either you got to let go, either butt heads or let go. So me and Rick just said, yeah, go for it, man. Just write for us. And we'll come together and we'll be like, dramaturgs in a way, So he's been writing like the latest, like the past 5 years, he's been writing most of the stuff, and that's fine. He's got a clear voice of what he wants to say, and we're, we contribute what we think is necessary. And so it works out good. But the plays that stand out in my mind as like our best play, I think would be Chavez Ravine. That's a play that we did in LA twice at an Art Taper Forum. It's about the Los Angeles Dodgers coming to Los Angeles. And I think that's our best play because it was really the last play that we wrote together really as a collective. And we brought like our best stuff in that one play. Wow.
And so 5 years ago, did you relocate to San Diego from LA?
Yes. This grant is able to pay me a living wage, and I wanted to, live here, and I wanted to work at the Rep, have an office there at the Rep. So yes, 5 years ago, I moved with my family, Belen and Samantha, down to San Diego. We live here in Point Loma, and I'm not leaving, even if this grant's over. This grant will be over for me in a couple of years, and I don't want to leave. I want to, create a company with you. And you heard it here. You heard it here first, people.
You say when, I'll jump.
You know what I'm saying? I think the energy here is great. It's still good. People are nice. I just want to stay here. I just want to stay here and work with different companies.
Yeah.
I already have a relationship with New Village Arts. I've been directing there. I did Picasso there. It was a big hit. We did a reading at Cygnet, with Bad Hombres, which was fun. I want to come back there. I just want to work with everybody. I want to work with everybody after this.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. So talk to us a little bit about, because you, the plays that I've seen you write are sort of like a fun twist, adaptation, deconstruction of classic work. So what's the fascination there? Specifically with Moliere.
Yeah, I've always liked Moliere, Aristophanes. These are comics that have always, spoken to us, because they critique the ruling class, I mean, Chaplin, all my favorite comics have done that, where they basically are the buffoons or the so-called buffoons. They're really the smart guys that, that tip the middle, the upper class on top of each other, so I love that. I love that. I've always loved that kind of comedy. And, classic plays have, they have the structure already. They already have a good story, a universal story. So it's kind of like, why am I going to invent the wheel, and break my head to figure out a new story when, the story's already there. The universality's already there. What's not there is the contemporary context anymore, the cultural context. We're not in Europe, 15th century, 16th century. We're not in France in 16th century. So I don't understand why we remount these classics when they have very little to do with our contemporary, morality, our contemporary politics, I mean, they're universal, but they're old fashioned, and the language is old fashioned. So I have no patience for that, so I'd rather just take those stories and update them to, in this case, a Latinx reality, which I think is important because that's the audience of the future, and people need to realize that.
That is the one thing I always love going to your shows, because there's this sense of the event of it is unique to a Herbert show, because the audience is there on fire to see your work, and you let them participate with the music that's being sung. You invite them to join. There is this there is this sense, I don't know what better way to put it than I feel cool. You know what I mean? Like I feel cooler watching your stories with with the audience that has grown with you.
You know, I gotta say I think that comes from like just from being in Culture Clash. You know, I think being in Culture Clash is the coolest thing ever. I mean, there's nothing like it. You know what I'm saying? When I do a Culture Clash show, there's nothing. I've shared stages with different actors. I've been with other directors. I've done stuff. But there's nothing like a Culture Clash show. There's just something wild and cool about it. I don't know. I don't. It's hard to describe. But I think I bring a little, I like to bring that into my work too, in my personal work. I think I just bring that like you say, coolness into it. I don't know what it is, but a lot of it has to do with that. We just don't take it so, it's not serious, it's not sacred, people. I know a lot of theater guys that are like, oh, they get really tortured about their work, and I'm like, we're just playing here, I have this sense of community. I think it's important that the ensemble I'm working with, they have to love each other. We have to get along. We have to go out for drinks after. Otherwise, why am I going to work with this person? I really don't, I don't see it that way. I don't want it to be painful,
Yeah.
And so the ensembles that we create, the rehearsal that we create, I think there's a lot of love among us already in the ensemble and the camaraderie. And so I think people feel that when we go on stage, we're just taking that playfulness, we're just taking that playfulness to the stage. So it's very organic, it's not like, oh, I put on this mask now and now I am a serious actor. No, it's kind of like, whatever joy we have in the rehearsal hall, we're going to take that into the professional stage. And I think people feel that, they know that we're playing up there. We're making love to each other. You know what I'm saying? Loving, and people love that. And I think, you've been to shows where it just feels uptight up on stage, and then you go, well, and then you ask people, hey, what's going on? And people are like, yeah, everybody hates each other, they might be the best actors in the world, but if you're not having a good time, you just people feel it. People feel it.
Yeah, I
that's
agree.
my philosophy. That's my philosophy in theater. It's just, if you're not going to have a good time, don't do it. Even if it's a drama. Even if it's a drama. I don't care what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we have to, like you said, I mean, there is this, we don't have to go get a beer, but like we should want to. We should want to spend time with each other because no one's making enough money. And I think you pointed out like this sense of playfulness that you bring as a human being, as a creator, but you also have a sense of discipline, which is it's not just like all play. I mean, you are a very disciplined, focused artist.
Thank you. Yes, I think that's right. I think you're right. It's play, but ultimately you got to work. Yeah. It is work. It is work, and you got to bring your A game. And I expect that from everybody I work with. I want them to bring their A game. I want them to have fun, but I want them, show me what you have, because I might use it, people like say, hey, I can sing. Oh, really? Let me hear it. Oh, wow, you do sing? Let's put it in the,
Yeah.
It's not sacred. It's like, bring your stuff, let's put it up there,
That's the best way to work, I think.
Yeah.
Everyone loves it when you're working with that sense of openness.
Yeah. If they have a better joke, hey, I'll take it. I'm not going to be proud and go, yeah, well, that's, not as good as my joke, but if it's better than my joke, I'll take it.
Yeah. Someone just commented mezcal is better, and I agree. And to drink mezcal with Herbert is one of the greatest experiences.
Oh man, yeah, we love that little bar on Adams, right?
Oh yeah.
Café Michoal, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, I miss you, man. I miss everybody. I the Zoom thing is fine, but the Instagram thing, but it's not the same.
No.
And
Agreed.
Everyone's scrambling. You guys are scrambling. The rep is scrambling. We've all become media companies suddenly, right? Very bizarre. Like suddenly overnight, we have to produce stuff for the web,
right?
And it just feels bizarre to me.
Me,
You know, because
likewise.
we are a theater. We have to be in a room with our people, with our audience. You know, this is not it. This is not it. You know.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about that. Do you think, in what ways do you think once the doors reopen that things will shift?
Yeah, well, people need to feel comfortable first to go back, you know. So I'm not in no hurry, you know. I don't run a theater like you guys, you know. You guys are like, oh shoot, we got to open the doors so we can make some money, you know. So I'm not in a hurry to get back because I really want people to come back feeling okay. I can come back, you know. But if we come back with some fear and all that, that's not going to be fun in the room, you know. You're going to feel it in the room, and so. Yeah, we're gonna come back. We're gonna come back, but it's just gonna, you know, take a while. Like I'm you know, the uncertainty drives me crazy because I can't plan. You know, like I want to do something. And can I do something in August? I don't know.
Right.
You know, it's too hard. It's hard to say. You know, so that's what all the theaters are going crazy. They don't know if they can produce something, you know, in the summer or late summer. You know, at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah. When do you guys? Okay. When's your first show? Let's put it that way. When do you think you'll be producing?
If I were to guess, I would say the fall.
Fall. Right.
Yeah.
And that's being optimistic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think
Yeah.
anyone who's planning to do summer, anything summer, I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah.
You know. And I don't think the audience is ready either. Like, you know, I want people to come back feeling comfortable. I don't want them to come back feeling scared.
Yeah.
You know.
I agree.
Yeah.
Herbert, talk a little bit about your journey as an actor, because I sent you a text the other day. I was watching a Netflix show and there you are on screen. I mean, it happens very often. I don't think people realize that you're not just a theater actor. You do voiceover work. You were in Coco. You know, you do a lot of film work.
You know, I don't really audition a lot. It's just a lot of stuff falls on my lap. You know, people hear about me, I guess, and then they make me an offer kind of thing, you know, which is great, you know.
Wow. How do we get into your shoes?
Well, I just believe, you know, I believe in energy creates energy. You know, I'm putting out energy consistently in whatever, you know, in my thing, in this case, theater. And somehow that translates, you know, people hear about it and see me or whatever. You know, for example, we were in yeah, did you see me in the Tom Hanks movie? Or what was it? Anyway,
No, it was a TV show.
Oh yeah, Hentified, Hentified.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, America Ferrera produces that. Not that I know her. I mean, I know her now, but no, I did audition for that, and I did it over the phone. You know, I did a self tape, and I sent it in, and you know, I mean, it helps to have Culture Clash behind you as a reference. You know, people go, oh yeah, the guy from Culture Clash. Oh, he's funny. Let's put him in. You know. So, but I've been really lucky in my career. For example, we were performing at the Getty Villa, you know, with Culture Clash, and Tom Hanks is in the audience, right? And he's like, I love these guys. And he sends us a note saying, I want you in our next movie, in my next movie, you know. And that's Larry Crown with Julia Roberts. It's a movie that came out around, I don't know, 8 years ago. And so we're in that, you know, I'm in that. You know, Pixar called me saying, hey, we're looking for Latino consultants to come up and see this script that we're doing called Coco, right? So I went up to Pixar and they showed me the roughs of the, you know, really rough, the sketches and a narrated script of the whole movie, you know, but it was all, you know, doodles back then. And, you know, and it was great. I said, hey, you guys have a good story here. You know, these are my notes, and we all gave them notes. But, you know, I'm at Pixar around the table with all the producers. I'm like, you know, I do voices, you know. And they're like, oh yeah, you're with Culture Clash. Yeah, I'm with Culture Clash. You know, and then they're like, oh yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, we'll remember that. And sure enough, a month later, they're calling me up to Pixar to do the voices for Tio Oscar and Tio Felipe, who are the twins in the movie, right? So, you know what I'm saying? you know, Hollywood is all about, you know, who you know and being at the right place at the right time. It's true what they say. It really is. And now and then you'll get something through an audition. Yes. Yes. So I've been auditioning now because I have an agent finally. But for a long time, I didn't have an agent, like a Hollywood agent. You know?
Right. Do you, if you were to give advice to a young generation graduating right now, what would you tell them? To getting into the field, because it's a scary time, I think, or an uncertain
It is a scary time. It is a scary time, but there is more opportunities too, because you know there's a lot more, in a sense, outlets now. You know, there's series on there's internet series, there's the Hulus, there's the Netflix. You know, there's just a lot more shows. You know, are they diverse? No. You know, I still get very upset. You know, you look at the whole list of shows on Netflix, right? Hundreds of new shows, right? But you know, I can count the Latinos on one hand. You know.
Yeah.
So that's really discouraging. That's still discouraging. You know. So I'm proud that I'm part of the one show. You know, it's called Gentified, that is produced by Latinos. But man, you know, talk about being underrepresented. We're still there. You know. I don't know what it's going to take. I really don't. But not to get discouraged. I tell young actors, man, you got to just be better than the next guy, you know. So always prepare, always be ready, you know. Keep working on your craft, you know. Join, you know. When I was coming up, I you know, like I said, with Culture Clash, we would perform wherever they invite us. We were there to perform. Because it's all about adding those hours, right? It's like hours on stage, hours, experience. And I think when you see me on stage, you're seeing someone who's done, I don't know, thousands of hours, you know, on stage, you know. And that, I don't know, that comes through. That always comes through. And so I always tell people, you know, don't say no. Don't ever say no, because energy creates energy. You know, someone's going to see you in, you know, at Cygnet. Someone's going to see you on stage Playhouse in Chula Vista, you know. And, you know, it's a 50-seater, but guess what? There's a guy there that has a 100-seater, and he's going to take you to his show. And then, you know, somebody from the Old Globe's going to watch you, and they're going to, you know what I'm saying? And that's how it works.
Tom Hanks sees you at the Getty Villa.
Yeah, we weren't expecting that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Something I've observed too, in you is you're a very humble artist, and you're not afraid to go up to another artist that you really respect and say, hey, let's do something together, or let's sit down for a drink. I want to talk to you about what I just saw. And I think that there's such value in that you're, you know, the first time that we hung out, you didn't tell me your resume. You just said, hey, I like the show. Let's talk. And there's something about that, you know, there's something about surrounding yourself with people that challenge you, that are interesting to you. Maybe that's what you did with Culture Clash, and surrounding yourself with people that constantly put the bar of excellence higher and higher.
Yeah. You know, when I came to town, I immediately saw the stuff you were directing, and it was kind of like, that's my sweet spot too. Like, I like that guy's taste, you know. It's really about taste. It really is, you know, because you can be super talented, but, you know, if you don't have the same taste or the same, you know, aesthetic values or the aesthetic vision, then there's no reason for me to work with you. You know what I'm saying? You're on your own path. I'm on my own path. But when I see people like you, I see similarities in taste, similarities in aesthetic paths. So those are the people that I want to work with. Yeah.
How would you articulate, like, what your aesthetic is?
Yeah, well, it's self-made. I'll tell you that. It's self-made. You know, I tell people, you know, I'm not a trained actor or a trained playwright. I did not go to, you know, a university for that. I studied art, you know. You know, I went to College of Arts in Oakland. You know, I got a degree in art, and theater was kind of like a second career. It was, you know, I wasn't serious about it. It was a community kind of thing for me, and it just got more and more serious, you know. And then Culture Clash happened, and then it got much. Then it became a full-time career, you know. But along the way, we were creating our own aesthetic, our own voice, you know. We, without the burden of you know, sometimes ignorance is bliss, you know. You know, we created something. We created our own voice because we weren't copying anybody, you know, because we didn't really know much, you know. You know, we didn't know that. We didn't know, you know, you know, we were illiterate, basically. I still feel like I'm illiterate, you know. It's only through
the Carnegie Mellon playwright in residence.
Yeah. Oh yeah, but I tell them that. You know, I tell them that, you know, this is amazing. You know, I'm in a real great category, you know, of playwrights with me, but you know, I'm probably the least educated of all. But you know, but I think that has brought my voice and my uniqueness to the proceedings, you know. Otherwise, you know, if you follow the same structure, the 3-act structure, whatever, the same, you know, then you're just going to get compared to other people, right, that do it better anyway. So I've been able to get away with murder, but it's great, you know. It's good because I've been, you know, you know, people can say, well, that's kind of like Culture Clash, you know, that's a Culture Clash style, which is kind of like messy and it's irreverent. So now I'm describing my style. I think it's irreverent. It's irreverent, and it's no holds bar. You know, it's just kind of like I just go for it. You know, and if it's too much, I bring it back a little bit. But I always go for the excessiveness first.
Yeah, and it is the event of a Herbert show is.
But but it's great. I'm a late bloomer, which is great. Now, you know, in the past 20 years, now I'm finally catching up to all the greats, you know, and reading all the classics and all, you know, and all the. So I read them and I'm going, oh wow, this was under my nose all this time. I didn't know that, you know. And I get excited and I'm like, oh yeah, I'll adapt this because I didn't know it was this cool, you know. You know, so I guess now 10 years ago I adapted Henry IV, Shakespeare, you know. Right. And I'm not a Shakespeare guy at all, you know. I did not grow up that way. You know how a lot of actors that we know, you know, they grew up in, you know, they did monologues in high school, and then they went to college and they studied Shakespeare and they were, you know, I didn't do any of that. So, you know, I skipped all that. So I had to come back to do it, you know. So I was at OSF and we were doing American Night for Culture Clash. But, you know, when you're in OSF, they also put you in another place, understudy, you know. Right. You know, since they're paying you, they got to use you. So I was an understudy for somebody in Henry IV, you know, and I had no idea what the play was about, blah, blah, right? It was one of the history plays. But, you know, I was the understudy now, and I saw it over and over again. I'm like, oh, this is so cool. This is a great play. I said, this would be, you know, what would happen if instead of a kingdom or, you know, English knights, what if these guys were like cholos in the barrio, you know? And sure enough, it wrote itself, you know? I just basically took the same story, but translated it into the barrios and to the, you know, to the honor of the streets instead of the kingdoms, and it worked, you know? And that's when we did El Henry with La Jolla Playhouse and San Diego Rep back in 2005. I mean, not 5, 15. 2014, and that was awakening. That awoke me to the classics, you know, thing. And then I started looking at Moliere and all these other ones. So I'm always looking like, okay, what storyline would I be able to adapt, you know, to a Latinx contemporary, or not necessarily Latinx. I'm looking at other stuff too, you know, just to see, you know, like I'm writing a play about Isaac Asimov. Right. But you know, I call it an Afrofuturistic play. You know, even though he's like a white Jewish guy, everybody else is going to be African American in it. You know, because that's another thing about my plays. Yeah, another thing about my plays is I like mashups. I like juxtapositions. You know, for example, Steel Heaven is Abby Hoffman. You know, 1960 radical in heaven. You know what I'm saying? Like, what would happen? You know. And so you know, that's what I recommend to a lot of people, especially writers, is like think of something okay, and then take it out of, put it in another context, mash it up with something else, and so, Isaac Asimov, as this, straight-laced science fiction writer, but I'm pairing him up with Afrofuturism, I'm pairing him up with funk music, like what,
to my heart.
when you think of Isaac Asimov, you don't think of funk music, right? But I do. So I like those contrasts. And yeah, Culture Clash has always done that, where, Che Guevara comes back from the dead to contemporary America. What would happen? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like taking a historical figure and putting it in a new context, or putting a tried and true, character, and putting it in another context just to see what happens. Mm-hmm.
How do you stop? I mean, something you were articulating earlier about like how you're illiterate, or you're not the most, there's something about that I think is quite funny, because you definitely are. But
I'm definitely illiterate.
is there something about like shutting off the artistic censor? Because as an artist, we know this voice that pops in our head that goes, oh, that's not smart enough, or oh, you've already done that 1,000 times, or oh, you can't, that's too much money, or whatever that censor is that you have to learn to push down.
Yes.
And it seems like you've done an amazing job of being able to just be a generative artist that just says, you know what, we're going to fail big.
Yes, I think you're right. It's taking out that censorship, and a lot of it in my case is because I just don't know better. But that's good though. You know what I'm saying? That's what I think has saved me and has created me, is that I just didn't know better, that I could, that I can't do that, or I can, and people are like, well, that's really fresh. Well, I said, well, I it's not fresh. It's just, it's just, that's what I do. It's like, yeah, I think, yeah, I don't have the restrictions, the constrictions of education to tell me, no, you can't do that. Yeah, you're right. Or history, even, oh, that's been done, because it's yeah, we're always, as artists, we're always censoring ourselves already, and so I don't need extra. I don't need more of that. No. Mm-hmm.
And your aesthetic, I mean, that's part of the human touch of, your collaging, like you were talking about,
Collage, yeah.
Mashing of, I mean, that's part of who you are as an artist. And I feel like, that's why you can't program a robot to do what we do, even though technically you could make them have the exact perfect ballet, right? But there is something about the human body, the human aesthetic, the faults, the fingerprints of makers, of collaborators, that you will always want. We'll always want that failure, in a way, or the sense that
it's really you're talking humanity, because a lot of young actors in colleges ask me, well, how do I play, how do I play the King of Norway, or whatever, and like, you know what, you're never going to be the King of Norway. You live in El Segundo. You live in Corona, right? You're not going to be him. So just be play a king, but it's ultimately it's you. You're the, I just say be yourself, and I think that's kind of my aesthetic as well. It's just I'm being myself, I'm being myself. I'm being truthful, honest, whatever, and I think that comes out. In my acting, I mean, I don't, consider myself the best actor, but I think there is a truthfulness, or at least a easiness that comes out of my acting, because I'm not, again, thinking about, well, so-and-so said this, or, you know what I'm saying? I don't overthink things. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
I'm more of a doer,
And you do a good job, I think, of surrounding yourself with other doers who don't judge,
Yeah.
Do you think, is part of your mission statement as an artist, you sort of articulated it somewhat, is providing opportunities for the Latinx community?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I think I feel fortunate that I'm in a position now and I have funds through my grant where I'm able to hire people, hire actors, hire, directors, hire people that can help me with my work, to bring my work to life, without the bureaucracy of going through a little, without going through a theater,
Right.
I have these funds that that are totally independent from the rep, so that I can just manage on my own and hire whoever I want, and that's great, because the minute your money's tied to a theater, it's kind of like it has to go through this committee and that committee, and then it's over. They overthink it again, and I don't like that. I think art, that's what I don't understand. I don't understand administration. We make art. Theater is, we make art, yet there's 15 administrators and only 2 artists on staff, or no artists on staff. So where am I missing here? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, something is not right here, and that's what the whole grant's about, is to see how artists can embed themselves into the institution. It's a really radical idea to have a playwright in residence on staff, 24/7, right? I mean, that's
Right.
like luxury, right?
That's amazing.
But is it a luxury? Doesn't it seem like a necessity? That's what that's what we're doing as theater, right?
Right. I often think about, theater makers. Every theater is a community theater. Every theater is about the community in which it exists in, because that's the audience. So having a playwright in residence makes a lot of sense to me, because you're not actually always in a national conversation. Sometimes by accident you are, because your local community is in a national conversation.
Yeah.
But really, it's about what's happening locally. And so when I see your plays and I hear a battle cry of a kid saying, "The border didn't cross me, you crossed the border," there is something like, you feel the sense of place. We are in San Diego right now watching this,
We are a border town. But you look at other theater. Well, I'm not gonna say who, but you look at theaters, and they're talking about Brooklyn,
Right.
which is fine. But I don't think that's what regional theater should be doing. I think that's just if I was a director, I would not be doing that kind of stuff. I think I would be doing stuff that really reflects the community that I live in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Someone recently on one of these interviews it was Delicia. She was talking about how theater is like church. And I've been thinking about that idea. It's something that you hear, but like, to really practice that. I mean, what does that mean? When you go into a church, there's this expectation that you're going to gain something for the soul, right? You're going to have a sense of community with other people. And there's outreach to them, small groups. I mean, how does theater look more like that? A community center, Yeah. Do you agree with that?
I come, that's my origins. I come out of those cultural centers. When I first did community theater in San Francisco, the Mission Cultural Center, it was a sense of community. We did theater, but there was also art galleries. There was cafes, and there was just a sense of it was organic. Everything was connected, interconnected. Once it becomes a business, then it becomes a business, and then that's where the problem lies. But what are you gonna do?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So what would your model look like? Let's say you and I start something. What does it look like?
You know what? I was in Chicago last year. I stepped into Steppenwolf Theatre, and I went, okay, this is what I'm talking about. They have this big warehouse with, I don't know, I think they have 3 spaces now, and they have a bar that's jumping downstairs, with the DJ, and they have a gallery here, and then in the day they do in community classes, and it's a cultural center, a real cultural center, and they're hiring, people from the community, and giving them intern jobs and stuff like that. They're hiring, people to bartend from the community, you know, that to me is that's what it should be, you know, I think.
I think that, I mean, there is something also about like recognizing people that look like you. I mean, so in so many lobbies across the country, I feel like a peasant among gentry, you know, but you need the gentry, but at the same time you want it to, if you want to bring fresh new people into the theater, you have to make sure you're reflecting them on the stages, and providing them a way to come.
Yeah, you know, ultimately you have to appeal. Yes, your art has to appeal to them too, you know. And but I see that in Steppenwolf. I'm seeing that in Steppenwolf more and more. You know, their programming is very diverse, you know, and they have a really hip. Their subscribers are not, you know, they're all ages, you know, they're all ages. I see really young people and old people, so that's really great, you know. Yeah, I mean, you know, you and I know that, you know, the audience here in San Diego is very old, and you know, how are we going to change that? How are we going to change that? It has to change, otherwise, what's going to happen? You know.
Did you find an item to show and tell for us?
Oh, it was
I think it was my art piece. I have a Trump doll.
Let's.
And then I'm sad about this.
What is it? We can't see.
Oh, this is a.
Put the
my
camera down.
Skin, sorry.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, these are interesting times, aren't they?
Yeah.
Besides the pandemic, you know, it's an election year. You know, it's just how, you know, how many fires can there be in one year? You know.
Yeah.
But you know, this is
stick together.
And I'm not writing about it. I don't feel like I'm not motivated to write about it. I'm reading a lot. You know, I'm reflecting a lot.
Yeah, I read you did for those who are interested, you just did a great article in HowlRound of interviews. But in it, you talked about how you're finding it difficult to write. Talk about that.
I am. I mean, you know, we're still in our first this is just 2 months into it. It's not like, you know. So I don't feel like, oh, I have to write about it right away. No, I'm going to reflect about it. I'm going to reflect on it and talk about it maybe later, you know. It's got to come out naturally. I don't have the urge to write about it, but I was missing my tribe, my friends. And so yeah, I got on the email, and I reached out to 7 playwrights, Latinx playwrights that I admire, that they're close friends. And I said, hey, I have 4 questions for you. Can you answer them? And they did. And yeah, the HowlRound article came out today, and I'm really, really happy about it, because the people really answered honestly and truthfully and candidly, and it was really eye-opening. Real beautiful stuff came out. You know, everyone's hurting in different ways, and everyone's reflecting in different ways. You know, but I think we are going to come out stronger because of it. You know. Yeah.
And maybe your Utopia Theater Community Center can happen. I hope so. I hope we shift that way.
Well, yeah, you know, again, it's going back to basics, you know, and I think that's what I think this whole thing has shown us, that going back to basics, back to, you know, just slowing it down, you know, slowing everything down, letting the earth breathe a little bit, and let your mind breathe too. Just slow down. You know, I think the pace was way too fast. And I think this just was a way to tell us, hey, just slow it down. It's, you know, what's the hurry?
Yeah.
You know, what is the hurry? I don't know what it is, you know. And so maybe maybe we'll be more human now. I don't know. I hope so.
Yeah. Are you finding other creative outlets, like your painting?
Yes, I'm painting a lot. I'm drawing a lot on my iPad. I've been because I was in a real cynical mood at the beginning of this, you know, kind of just like, you know, what's going on here. So I I was drawing jokers. I'm drawing a joker every
Yeah,
day.
yeah, yeah. I've seen this. This is
And
great.
they're just like, because I love the Joker because he's happy, but deep down, like, I'm a happy guy, but deep down, I'm really angry and I'm really like pissed off about all kinds of shit, right? So I really relate to the Joker. So I've been drawing all these really funny, these disturbing portraits of the Joker.
Yeah.
It's just another outlet. It's just an outlet for me,
Yeah.
I'm having a great time with my daughter. She's homeschooled now, and she's been helping me with the video. She's great.
Yeah.
She's learning the ukulele, so.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, she comes up with these amazing songs.
I saw one of them. Samantha maybe posted.
Yeah, it was about quarantine.
Yeah, that was delightful. If
Yeah.
anyone has any questions for Herbert on the last 10 minutes, let put them down there. One of them was, will Bad Hombres be produced again?
Wow, it was they were producing it at Tisch, NYU. There was going to be a student production of it.
Wow.
In March, and of course they were in tech, and it got shut down in New York. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but I hope other I've been pitching it to other theaters. I really hope I think it's a fun piece that's accessible, and that's another thing about my work. I do think about the audience. I do think, I don't write for myself necessarily. I do write to get produced. I'm not gonna say no. I write stuff that's accessible. Accessible, right? So it's I don't write stuff that's so out there that that only pleases me and a couple of other people.
Right.
I do want to get my stuff produced, and accessible stuff is the stuff that appeals to me as well. I got to understand the play. I want to enjoy the play. I don't want to be feeling like I don't, I'm not smart because I don't get it. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you go to plays and you're like, wow, I must be dumb. I didn't get it.
Where's the glossary?
No, you know what I'm saying? So, I want the stuff to be seen,
Yeah.
So, my comedy in a sense is kind of classic. I mean, I use a lot of classic comedy examples, or routines. I just dress them up differently.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you find being in the shows gives your ensemble permission?
Yes. Yes, because I do. I'll let them know, hey, just, go for it. I'm going for it. You should go for it too.
That's great.
Yeah. No, yeah, I missed that show. I hope to do it again, even if I'm in it or not. It doesn't matter. But we got to do something, Robbie.
I know.
We're gonna do something. We're gonna do something. We're gonna do something. I know we are.
I know. Likewise.
Yeah.
I mean, hearing you reiterate this idea of your collaging artist, I'm just thinking of all these examples of your work that I've seen, even workshops that I've seen where you go, I want to work with this composer, or I want to work with this devised theater maker from DC. And putting yourself up against other creators, it's sort of a beautiful thing that you do, Herbert.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Yeah, that keeps it fresh for me too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Someone asked the question, do you think live theater will come back in the same way after quarantine?
Yeah, my simple answer is yes. 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 I think that's what we're missing. We're social creatures. We need to get in that room, and I just hope that we just get a green light so that we can fill the hall up, and not fear. That's my thing. I don't want to go in there prematurely. No. But it's gonna feel great. It's gonna go right back to. I think it's gonna be feeling really. People are gonna be really happy to be together again.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's gonna be good.
I agree.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I can't wait to go get drinks with you again and be able to hug you and.
Oh, look are you making money? I see something. Are you making money online during the quarantine? No, I'm not getting paid, but for this. No, you know what? I've been doing a lot of interviews like this because everybody needs content, and I'm happy to do it. But you know what? I'm not charging. thank God I have the Mellon grant that pays me no matter what, and so that keeps me afloat. Otherwise, I don't know what I'd be doing. I don't know, you know.
Do you get residuals like
From
your
Coco and
Netflix
stuff?
show and stuff?
Yeah. So that helps. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Any final words you want to tell us?
No, that I can't wait to see you all again in the theater. We're gonna come back. We're gonna come back. Yeah. And I just want to thank everybody for all of your support since I've been here in San Diego. I really feel like I've created a new family and a new support system, and like Robbie, and you know, and I'm gonna be working with all you guys. I really love it here.
Miss you, my friend. Give your family my love.
Okay. Bye.